Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Gaijin has announced the next event that is going to be coming after the T-34-85 Partisan, and it is for the HF-24 Marut for India. This is going to be the Spirit of the Tempest event, basically because that's what Marut means in Hindu, and it's going to be another Indian aircraft into the game, which is coming to the British tech tree. This is going to be an event vehicle jet fighter for rank 5, so very similar to the Meteor FR9 and how that was set up for Israel, but instead this is going to be for Britain. And also, it's for a unique vehicle, which is pretty cool. The Marut as a vehicle was not one which really did a great job in real life, but at the end of the day in War Thunder, it can fit perfectly because they can kind of balance it by its BR instead of having to balance it against the vehicles that were built. Basically, this vehicle was in service from the mid-1960s until even the 1990s, and the only thing that Gaijin doesn't talk about in this article is which variant of the Marut we are getting. And once we know that, it will give us an insight in how powerful specifically the engines are going to be on this thing and how useful it's going to be. It's going to have access to at least 4 30mm Aiden cannons with 120 rounds per gun, or at least should do, so quite a lot of firepower, and also can carry 4,000 pounds worth of bombs and also some rockets as well. So this is going to be very much a fighter bomber for the British tech tree, and therefore useful in all game modes that it is applicable. Since this is an event, there is a grind to it. It's going to have 7 stages to it, and the 7 stages are going to be 35,000 mission score stages. So once again, exactly the same as the event for the Meteor FR9. The coupon for this, if you want to grind it out, is going to be 600,000 mission score, which at least for the Meteor for me didn't really take too long, which was super surprising. It actually went really swimmingly, which was really nice. And also in those 7 stages, you don't just have the Marut, you have some other prizes too. So you get random rewards on 3 of the stages. These are basically the 1-day premium or SL or SL and RP boosters or random camo, you know, stuff that is similar to what you get in the page of history. But also, on top of that, for 2 of the stages, you get some decals. One of them being the emblem of the 10th Squadron decal, and then the other one being the emblem of the 220th Squadron decal, which is really cool. You also have a profile icon, which is fun, and it is of an Indian pilot who is sporting a turban. I don't think we've actually had an Indian profile picture, so this will be really cool to see for representation purposes, and also people who just like that area of the world. So yeah, we're going to have the Marut alongside some Indian stuff, which is really cool. We've seen more Indian and also Pakistani stuff added to the game more recently, and also Bangladeshi, which has been really cool, and I hope they continue this trend of adding more and more of these vehicles. So let's have a chat about the Marut. What is it? Well, it's the HAL HF-24 Marut, and Gaijin actually said that Kurt Tank was going to have kind of a hand in the next event vehicle, so it was either going to be the Marut or the Pulqui or some kind of Focke-Wulf or something like that. Kurt Tank was a German designer that left Germany after the Second World War for obvious reasons, ended up in Argentina for obvious reasons, and then went to India to help them build the Marut. And this was basically the first jet that was domestically designed and built by India themselves. They wanted a supersonic capable interceptor aircraft. Instead, what they got was a fighter bomber aircraft which couldn't go supersonic. There was a bunch of different versions of it though, and the major difference between them was just the engines. Some of them used some afterburning engines such as the Bristol Siddeley Orpheus 703s, others used the Turbomeca Adore engines and all of those, and then the standard version, which is probably the one we're going to get for the event, since it's a rank 5, just has the non-afterburning Bristol Siddeley Orpheus Mark 703 turbojet engines in it. It has 2 of them in the back of it. So this vehicle had a pretty interesting kind of story. I would highly recommend going to read about it. But basically, what ended up happening was India really wanted their own jet. They were sick of kind of importing stuff from other areas, so they relied on Kurt Tank to design and build stuff. The problem with the Indian authorities is they didn't really trust Kurt Tank, so the actual amount of energy and funds that they gave him were very small, and Kurt Tank really didn't seem to care either, so he just kept going along with it. And what ended up happening is they created this vehicle, but even along the side of this thing being developed and also put into production, the Indian Air Force actually expressed preference for the Dassault Ouragan at the time, which was the French vehicle, which is around the French jet, and had already purchased other fighters at the time of it being mass-produced, the Hunter and also the Su-7, which is just really ridiculous. So even though they built the Marut, and even though they used it, they were just favoring other nations' stuff anyway, which is pretty nuts. At the end of the day, with the Marut, there was 150 of them built. It didn't really live up to expectation of what it was supposed to do, but at the same time, it gives us another unique design and an interesting one that we can see in War Thunder. And at least for me, that's all I really care about. And the fact that there's several variants of it, you could bring one in as an event vehicle, which is what they're doing here, and then maybe at some points you could add in a sub-tech tree, which India could have in the British tech tree. And I know that is always something that's a little bit controversial because of obviously the history of the general areas, but put it like this, there's nowhere else where it's going to go. So that I suppose you could have like an independent tech tree, but it would be very, very weak compared to everybody else. So yeah, what you're going to get out of the Marut is a vehicle which will have a lot of offensive firepower with the 4 30mm Aidens. It will also be able to carry some big old bombs. I don't think it'll have too many internal systems, like stuff like CCIP or things like that, but when you have that much of a bomb load, it doesn't really matter. The other part of it, which is kind of cool, is it has a similar setup to some of the F-86s, where it had a retractable pack of 50 rockets in the middle of it, which could like come down and fire, which I've always kind of liked when it comes to these types of things. And hopefully at the same time, what we can have is a few more of these variants in, so maybe we can have a bit more power in the engines, so therefore it can move around the place a little bit better. But this event will be coming on the 22nd of May until the 5th of June. So basically just setting up before the D-Day event. And then you'll probably see, I think, wasn't it an American ground vehicle that they said it was going to be? So that should be quite nice too. So look forward to it. We'll cover the vehicle when it comes out and see what it has access to. Hopefully, it has the nice engines. Something tells me it probably won't, though, so that will be kind of sucky. But as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.